What's going on, everybody? Rasaktia here in Singapore, and you are listening to the Night Owl podcast. And once again, I'm back on here because, as I said, I've been processing a lot of information that I've been absorbing over the last couple of weeks. And today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the fact that people have this very wild understanding of what it really means to take care of your health, your mental health, your emotional health, all of that. So here in Singapore, right, what I've realized is the human resource department is meant to take care of um, coaching and grooming their staff, as well as be the liaison between upper and middle management to the regular workers and everything. It doesn't work that way here in Singapore. And a lot of people are very, very nervous about going to ask for help, going to counseling sessions, things like that, because there is a stigma here that if you are in need of help like that, that it must be something gravely wrong with you, that you might not be able to fulfill your duties on any given workday, which is kind of sad. But the same is also true for school. For a lot of students, people are having a lot of trouble coping with their mental health and trying to find the right words to express to their professors, to their mentors, to their counselors, as in guidance counselors in university, that they do need some help, they do need a break. A lot of times they're met with the comment that, oh, you know what, you're not feeling well. Why don't you just take a semester off and come back and finish? But the point being that, let's say maybe your situation is triggered by the amount of stress that you have going on. The only way that you can actually learn to manage the stress is to be in a stressful situation, plus have a counselor on the side. Taking a break and walking away from the environment that's giving you trouble, only to return to it at a later time, does not guarantee that you know how to suddenly manage it because you've stepped away from the situation entirely. But that's the problem that I'm facing here in Singapore. We have a lot of people who have their own ideas about how to deal with mental health, how to, stop worrying, stop feeling this depressed feeling, stop entirely feeling anything, because they feel that the feelings themselves need to be stuffed down and you just think through everything that's going on. But that's not how that works. Compartmentalizing your emotions doesn't work towards helping you find a solution on how to manage everything. A lot of times our problems surface from our feelings about things, the way we believe things should be. We have this idea in our heads about this is the way things are. Usually it's handed down from our parents, or it's built within our culture in our home itself. And then as you slowly step out of the comfort of your home and get to interact with other people and other cultures and other family dynamics, you seem to have to question what you've been raised with and try and make sense of the world at large. So in a situation where you're studying, for you to say, you know what, I can't deal with the amount of stress, I'm having a lot of trouble, and for someone to say, oh yeah, you know what, don't worry about it, just take a semester off and come back later, does not actually help you with your problem. It actually sidesteps the entire problem itself. So in those situations, I feel like I wish that I could change the landscape for mental health. I wish I could change the stigma. It's still met with this idea that, you must not be strong enough to handle things. This is why you need help from somebody else. You're not equipped emotionally somehow to be able to deal with the pressures of maybe deadlines or, home versus work balance, any of those things. And so you're looking for outside help. So people tend to look at you, or look down at you, as the case may be, thinking that there's something wrong with you because you need help in the mental health landscape. But that's not it at all. And I really, really want to change the way people see this, because it's truly important. If you were to go to a doctor's office once a year for a yearly checkup, why wouldn't you do the same with a mental health therapist or a counselor or a coach? Because it's best for you to check in once every so often, just to make sure that you're able to cope with whatever's going on in your life. Every twist and turn, change is guaranteed. Not everyone deals with change very well, so each person has their own cross to bear, and their cross is heavy to themselves. I really wish that I could change the way that people see this, because it would help people understand that everybody has mental health issues. Everybody has their own coping mechanisms. Everybody has their own way of dealing with the people around them. Sometimes it's destructive. Sometimes it's constructive. And a lot of times we are not willing to stand up and say, hey, this is what I do to deal with my emotions, and say it out loud for fear that somebody will judge us. We do what we do in the comfort of our own homes, quietly in private, so that no one really knows, because we're not ready for people to be able to pick apart what we think is the right way to handle things. But it's not until you're in a high stress situation that those coping mechanisms come into question, because maybe they're not working for you. Maybe they're creating more trouble than you really need in that situation. And you need someone to be able to be objective about what's going on and help you sort out where you're being destructive, where you could possibly change, and where you need to let go because it's not even in your circle of control. So I really, really hope that if you've ever been told that, just take a break, walk away from it and you'll be okay, or stop thinking so hard, or people tell you, no, 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 don't go to a counselor, what stays within these walls, what happens within these walls stays within these walls. If you ever have somebody that tells you, no, you should keep this private and secret, don't go out and tell anybody because, whatever reason they may give you, if you feel the need to reach out and ask for help, please, by all means, reach out and ask for help. I'm always available. Message me if you need, and I'll do my best to help. The other thing being that don't knock how somebody else is coping with their own traumas, their own problems. Just because you might be able to take a certain amount of pain doesn't mean the next person beside you could do the same. It just depends on how much they've actually experienced in their life. Maybe you've been through a lot and now your threshold for pain is a lot higher than the person next to you. So either way, each person's problems are big to them. If you can look at it from that point of view, it makes it a lot easier to understand that every single one of us struggle with mental health, struggle with our thoughts, struggle with our belief system, struggle with our feelings. The most common answer to everything is, oh, you're feeling too much. You're choosing to believe these things. You're choosing to stay in that feeling. And that's not the case. Sometimes you have the methodology with which to use, certain steps in a specific order so that you can come out of whatever it is that you're feeling, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes the steps that you have work for you, and sometimes they don't. I was just having a conversation with my cousin yesterday about how do we, change our thoughts in order to change the problems or fix the problems, because our thoughts have changed. But it's not always that easy. As much as we'd like to say, oh yeah, just think about something else and it'll come to you, it's not always that same strategy that works. Sometimes you need to look at the situation itself. Sometimes being near certain people just triggers you so much you can't even think straight. I have a couple of those people in my life, and I limit the amount of times that I speak to them because I don't want to blow up. I don't want to come out of my mouth and say anything unbecoming, and I don't want to be rude and ruin the reputation that I've created for myself. The other thing being that if I don't allow myself to be seen and to be heard, no one knows that I'm available to reach out to. If I don't let people know that this is the things that I believe in, you don't know if I'm a good fit for you either. So on both sides of the coin, I need to be able to show you that I have been there. I am able to help you find a strategy that works for you. And also, if I were to need help, I need to be able to speak up enough to be able to reach out to somebody and let them know, hey, I'm struggling with this too. What do you do that's different that might be able to help me as well? So please take mental health seriously. It's not as easy as, oh, just take a break. It's not as easy as that, because guess what? Wherever you go, you take your mind with you. You take your body with you. You take your feelings with you. So it's almost inescapable unless you know what your symptoms are like, what the triggers are before you have a panic attack. Until you understand your process, what happens, the steps that you need to take, you won't understand what to do next. So please take mental health seriously. And yes, we just talked about the fact that it's not just all mental, it's also physical and emotional, but take your health very seriously. If you need to ask for help, ask for help. Taking a break from things does not always solve the problem. Being away from the environment that's causing you stress doesn't eliminate the stress all of a sudden, because at some point you're going to have to go back to that same environment. My favorite story that I like to tell is about a man who had a very, very bad temper, and he was known for blowing up at anyone and everyone for almost nothing. It didn't take much for him to just get triggered, and he would go off on a tangent and yell at people and tell them off. Eventually, he realized he was destroying all of the relationships around him. He was in danger of losing his children, in danger of losing his marriage, in danger of alienating everybody that he had built a reputation with over the course of many, many years, because he was also a businessman. So eventually he decided, okay, I'm going to go on a retreat. I'm going to get away from all of this, and I'm going to work on my temper. And so he chose to go off to a cave by himself and quietly work on his temper. But the problem being that the minute he came back from his retreat, even though he thought he was in good control and he had not lost his temper in over 2 weeks for the duration of the retreat, when he came back to those same triggers, guess what? Within a couple of minutes, it happened once again. He started losing his temper all over again. Why? Because he learned to manage his emotions, but away from all the things that were triggering him. Now, sometimes you do need the break to kind of calm down and find some peace for a while so your body can calm down, your emotions can calm down, and you can start to be objective but away from the situation. But at some point, you're going to have to go back. And when you go back, you need to be equipped with the kind of strategies that would help you cope with those people. Maybe it's the fact that you need to speak up for yourself more. Maybe it's the fact that you need to learn how to manage people's expectations of you and then also manage their expectations, your expectations of them. Maybe it's the fact that you need to find a way to get your needs met. Maybe you didn't realize that you have specific needs. Maybe the need for consistency, maybe the need for adventure, maybe the need for feeling important in your life. And if you don't know that you need these things, how could you ever possibly communicate the fact that you need them to anyone around you? So taking a break on its own is not enough to fix anything. Taking a break can help you calm down, sure, but at some point you're going to have to go back to those trigger-ridden situations, and how you manage them then is really, really important. Now, if you need help, please let me know. I do have a system in place to help you learn more about yourself and become more self-aware, because emotional intelligence, in my opinion, starts off with self-awareness. And once you have the self-awareness, it becomes a question of how you communicate all of that self-awareness so that the people around you know what to expect and you know what to expect of them as well. And then from there, it becomes a matter of making it a habit every day to do this every day. So it's not a once in a blue moon thing, and then every time you have to approach someone and tell them about something or help them understand your boundaries, you get nervous and shy away from it instead. If you do it on a consistent basis, it becomes fitness. So I hope you understand what I'm talking about. If you have any questions, please, by all means, drop it in the comments below. And I look forward to hearing from all of you, because guess what? All of us have beliefs. All of us have thoughts. All of us have feelings. And if no one's going to be there to point out how to manage them, we've got to seek out the answers for ourselves. So I'm here to help you with that if you need anything. But in the meantime, y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.